Hi, this is Cookie, and I'm here in the WDKX podcast studio. And it is a pleasure to have Gerald McBride.
Wow, it is my pleasure to be here, Cookie. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, not only are you the host of the Old School House Party,
Yes,
right?
that's right.
You are the executive producer of a new movie out called The Black Ice,
The rhythm.
The Rhythm.
That's right. That's right. And it's a movie that I wrote. I've actually been working on for almost 15 years. And finally, we got a chance to release it in 2024. And we're here in Rochester right now because it's playing at a theater.
It's
Yeah,
playing at Movies 10.
yeah, through March 6th.
Yes. And let me just say this before we go in any further. You have to go out and see this movie. It is not only inspirational,
Yes,
but it's a movie of perseverance and resilience and overcoming.
that's right.
So, how did this come about? How did this project come about?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, about 15 years ago, a friend of mine came into town and he asked me to take him to a hockey game. And I had never really been to a pro hockey game. This was actually a college game between University of Michigan and UMass, and his son was playing for UMass. So I get there, and it's completely sold out, 10,000 seats in this University of Michigan arena. And I'm the only black guy in the entire arena. And I thought, wow, where are all the black people in this sport? And it just kind of aroused my curiosity just to kind of find out how come you just don't see a lot of African Americans playing this sport. And just kind of started doing the research, but I was also inspired to write a story about this. And those who are watching this, who write, they understand when I say when you get a story inside of you and you just got to get it out. At the time, I really didn't have any experience in writing movie scripts. I have a company that produces a lot of radio and TV commercials. So I've written a lot of 30-second and 60-second commercials, but never 120-page movie script. So I just began writing, and started first kind of writing and putting it on just a notepad, and eventually moved up to the software that's used to write movie scripts, which is called Final Draft. And kept writing and writing, started taking classes, and just kind of just learned, the ins and outs of writing a movie script, and kept writing and writing. And then I finally got it to where I thought it was good enough to present to some people. And I have some friends in Hollywood who I sent it to. And I'll never forget, they thought it was the worst thing they ever read before in their life.
But though, before you sent the movie to Hollywood, right?
Yes.
There was this whole process of not only writing it, but learning how to do it, learning the equipment,
Absolutely.
learning the skills,
software,
talking
yes.
to people, the software,
Yes.
and really honing in to bring out what it is you really wanted to say. What was
Absolutely.
that like?
It was a process. It really was. Many times I wanted to give up. I probably balled that script up over and over and over again.
I
was throwing it in the trash. I was shooting a 3-pointer in the trash. Like, man, forget this. This isn't working. But I would just get it out of the trash and just start over again, and just kept writing and perfecting it over and over and over again. And you know what, though, Cookie, in life, that's what it takes. I mean, pretty much my radio career was like that too. It just took a while before it really kicked in. I couldn't give up. I had to continue on and persevere. And so yeah, and that's pretty much what I did with the script until I got it to where it was acceptable. I sent it back to Hollywood, and they were like, "Hey, we think you got something here." And I had some people who were interested in putting up, some money for it, and they were talking. A couple of people were talking, millions of dollars to make this movie, because there's just so many moving parts in it.
Right.
And then on top of that, shooting a sports movie like this, it requires a lot of actors. So it's not like just 5 or 6 people you can kind of focus on in a movie. I mean, it's a lot of people in this movie.
So the movie was shot in Detroit.
Yes.
That's where you're from.
Shot in Detroit. Yes.
And I never knew black kids played hockey.
Exactly. And that's pretty much what the whole movie is about. So after I presented to Hollywood and I got a couple of bites. COVID hit, and I lost contact with those people who were interested. A lot of deals kind of fell uh, to the wayside during COVID, and so after COVID, after we came out of COVID, I kind of picked the movie back up, but this time I decided to step out on faith and do it myself. Now I didn't have millions of dollars,
Right.
and I had to shoot this on a very, very ultra, what they call an ultra low budget film. And I started casting. I started putting my crew together and doing all the pre-production. And I'm still, learning so much. Every step and every process it takes in order to make a movie. And I'm kind of glad I did it this way, Cookie, instead of somebody else just taking my script and probably changing it. And I had an opportunity to really keep my hands on it and doing it myself. And I ended up shooting this movie for a little under $300,000 with an SBA loan.
That's amazing
Yes.
because the actors, like the
Yes.
young kids who were on the ice, first of all, they weren't actors. Like,
Not at all. They were not actors. Where are you going to find African American kids who can play hockey and act?
yeah,
Just
that's not
unheard
that's
of.
it's
Right.
unheard of.
Right. Right.
So the experience with them, I'm sure they had to um feel a sense of inspiration for themselves, not only to further, whether it's school, hockey,
Right.
acting, or anything that they wanted to do. I really do think you have changed some lives.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the way the movie is written, they could really relate to each character. As a matter of fact, a couple of them were actually going through some of the things that I wrote in their personal lives. So when I gave them the lines, I would always tell them, just say this the way you feel.
Well,
Tell me how you feel about this line, and how would you say it in real life?
well, you could tell because there were, like, I was rooting for some of the kids, some of the young men that were in the play.
Yes.
Like, I was rooting for them, and I'm not going to give away any
Right.
information, but I want you to go see the movie because despite all the obstacles, these kids won.
Exactly. So when you think about it in the movie, there's already barriers and obstacles in playing a sport that you're a little unfamiliar with. I mean, these kids are like the bad news bears of hockey, and the coach turns them into a winning team. But while they're dealing with these obstacles of playing hockey, they have their own personal obstacles and barriers that they have to get over.
Well, listen, the movie is The Rhythm.
Yes.
It is playing at Movies 10 in Rochester, New York
Yes.
through March 6th. And I told you before we even went on the air, you
Yes.
need to market them Rhythm jerseys.
I am.
want me a Rhythm jersey.
I am.
Because that is, the rhythm is who we are.
Yes.
As Black people, we come from
A rhythm.
this rhythm that's in
right.
our head
That's
all
right.
the time. That's why
That's
we're
right.
so
That's in
good
our
at what we
soul.
do. It's in our
Absolutely.
soul.
That's absolutely right. And when you think about it, that rhythm is like a swag that we add to
Yes.
every sport we play. I mean, just think about it. At one time, basketball, baseball, and football were all white sports, and I think Black people added a lot of swag to those sports.
We did.
Yes.
We did.
Yes.
Well, I just want to say, what's next for the movie? Because I know it's playing.
Yeah.
And you have a nationwide reach with your radio show,
Yes.
I believe, right?
Yes.
So will you be going to different
Yeah,
cities?
we plan to go on a tour with the movie to different cities in some of the markets that my radio show plays, Old School House Party. But we also signed a deal with Goldwyn Pictures, so the movie will be released in May on streaming platforms. I'm not sure which platforms yet, but it'll be some really good platforms that you'll be able to see the movie on.
Well, I just want to thank you for coming down here.
Man, thank you for having me.
First of all, you have made my dream come true. I just want everybody to know that I have helped boost Gerald McBride's radio and movie career.
Yes, you have. You did today, man. We had such a great time on the air, and I just want to thank WDKX for having me. I worked here back in 1985.
Yes, you did.
So this brought back a lot of memories and being here and man, just reminiscing about old times. And then we got a chance to do the Battle of the Old School
We
on
got-
the radio.
And we had people calling in. They were serious about their
Yes.
votes, right?
Yes. And we had people calling all over from all over the country.
Memphis.
Yes.
we
In
had
Atlanta.
It was
Awesome.
just like it was your regular
Like
the
my
show
regular
you do
show
on Sunday.
Yes.
And what
awesome.
time is the show on?
We're in Rochester. We're on from 8 p.m. until midnight every Sunday night.
Well, listen, thank you so much. Anybody listening to this, please go out and see the movie.
Yes. It is playing now through March 6th at Movies 10. And that's on Henrietta Road?
Yes,
Henrietta
it
Road.
is on West Henrietta Road in Rochester, New York.
Yes.
Check it out.
Yeah.
And if you ever get them jerseys together, I want one.
Okay, you got it. You got
Thank you, Gerald. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank
Cookie.
you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You too.
All right.
Thank you all for listening. This is Cookie on the WDKX podcast with Gerald McBride.